Hey, welcome back to the ACE Football Academy. This is your Friday Footy Talk for July 11th, 2025. I am Coach Dunham. This is Coach Hamilton. Coach, we have just recently watched the Gold Cup in the men's national team. Very young squad, which I think we like for that going on. And that kind of flies into what we're going to be doing today. So, Coach, we're going to be going through our top 5 U.S. men's national team legends of all time. Now, we understand that these aren't going to be world-class guys that are going to be known around the world, but these are guys that we've grown up with, either when we were kids, teenagers in high school, maybe later in our life, that we've just kind of rooted for, hoping that we get things done. And maybe you guys agree or disagree with our standings here. So how this is going to go, we both have some honorable mentions that we're going to list through, and then we're going to go back and forth, starting with 5 down to our number 1 guy that we think is kind of the all-time great for the men's national team of all time. Coach, we know that really nothing happened with Americans until about 1990 in that World Cup, when they finally started getting things going, and that was really kind of the striking point to get U.S. soccer really building. So here is our list of players that we feel need to be recognized. Coach, I'm going to put it into your book first. Give me 2 or 3 of your honorable mentions that were good or notable, but didn't quite make your top 5 list.
All right, so let's also say that if one of my honorable mentions are on Dunham's list, he's not going to say, "Oh, he's my number 3."
Yeah, right.
He's just going to let me go, and then and then he'll mention that he's on his top 5. I think if we both mention a player who we think is an honorable mention, we can maybe spend a little minute or so on that player. But real quickly with the honorable mentions, for me, I wanted to bring up 3 names that I know aren't the best of all time, but for our generation, I think it's 3 names that when you think about the U.S. men's team immediately come to mind. So I'm just going to give you 3 names, and you give me a real quick response, and then I'll get into my actual 2 honorable mentions. Josie Altidore, Michael Bradley, DeMarcus Beasley.
I already don't like your list.
Well, but I told you they're not the best of all time, but they're the names that come to mind in our generation. I mean, unfortunately or unfortunately, those are the names, right?
And you have a point, because there was a time when they were all playing together.
Yeah.
And we thought, this is the team.
It. Yeah.
This is the group that can get us somewhere.
Yep.
And they had some success. There was no question about it. I think they had Jurgen Klinsmann for a few years.
Correct.
I think they also dealt with Bruce Arena early in their careers, which you and I both do not like Bruce Arena the first time or the second time.
Well, and I never liked Michael Bradley either, but he's a name that pops in your mind when you think about U.S. men's national.
He held that midfield very well. Yeah. And, of your 3, I like DeMarcus Beasley the most. His longevity.
Yep. He got forward.
Smart player.
Yeah.
Very athletic.
Yep.
He reminds me of, and I don't know if, tell me if you recall this name, an English Premier League player, Ashley Young.
I do not.
An outside back, skinny, lanky, speedy, played a long career. That's kind of who DeMarcus Beasley reminds me of. Yeah. But of your list, I think Altidore was a fine player, had some good success. Like you said, Michael Bradley did well in the midfield, but I think you're right. He just deserves having his name mentioned.
Yeah.
I don't know if he's really a top 5 guy, though.
All right, so I'll give you my 2 honorable mentions who I really think are honorable mentions, who I think should be in that top 5 category. We can talk about them, or we don't have to. I'll leave it up to you.
Yeah, go.
Claudio Reyna is in my honorable mention. He was the World Cup captain twice. He is one of the very few Americans that have made a World Cup All-Star team in 2002, I believe.
That's correct. Yeah.
So he is on my honorable mention list. My other honorable mention is Brad Friedel.
Yeah.
4th most capped goalkeeper in the U.S. He was a part of the 92 Olympics. He was the second goalkeeper to make 2 PK saves in the course of play. So we're not talking about shootout, but in the course of play in a match at the World Cup. So he is also in my honorable mentions. So those are my 2 honorable mentions.
I like that list, and I'm gonna go ahead and give you my 3 honorable mentions. Number 1, Tab Ramos.
Early guy.
Yeah, we're talking the 1990 crew of Alexi
early guy.
Lawless.
Yeah,
Reyna was also out there.
You're too
Tony
old.
Miola.
You're too old for me. I couldn't go back that far.
But a 90s pioneer.
Yeah, no, he was,
team to
absolutely.
really get things going.
Yep.
I also have Brad Friedel on
Okay.
that honorable mention list. One thing that you and I have agreed on over the years is the Americans develop great goalkeepers.
Yeah, for however reason.
And the other one that you could kind of mention was Casey Keller, but I agree that Brad Friedel was a step above Casey Keller. Just a goalkeeping legend, not just for America, but he had a great international career as well.
Well, and if I'm not mistaken, Brad Friedel was in the middle of Tony, what's his last
Tony
name?
Miola.
Miola and Tim Howard, right? He was the segue in between them. Is that?
Well, it was
right?
Miola, and then it was Casey Keller,
And-
Friedel, and then it went on to Tim Howard.
So, well, I mean, look at those 4 goalkeepers right there.
Absolutely.
Good lord.
and that backs up what we just said.
I mean, yeah,
That's great
absolutely,
goalkeepers.
yeah. So, I agree. I actually even flirted with putting Brad Friedel in my top 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was an honorable mention for me too.
The third guy I have is, and I'll tell you why I love this guy, Brian McBride.
Oh yeah.
He
Okay.
was one of those guys that talent-wise wasn't there, but he worked so hard to get in there. If I'm not mistaken, he didn't have any luck getting on a team in America, moved to England just by taking a chance, and I think he knew somebody and crashed at that guy's house and made his way onto like a championship level team, but they end up getting promoted into the Premier League. Of course, they got their butts kicked, but just talk about a guy who's just a warrior player, scored in multiple World Cups, and just that, he was a dog. He just worked his butt off and made it through, and I think he deserved to be an honorable mention there.
I like that.
All right, Coach, let's get into our top 5. Before we get into that, I'm going to tell you right now, when I did this top 5, I have 3 criteria that I was looking at. Number 1 was player performance. Looking at their caps, their goals. Do they have World Cup moments, big tournament moments that could be, I guess, notarized? The other one is cultural influence. What was their impact on the growth of U.S. soccer in America? The third was world-class quality of play. Were they just a national team legend, or did they have success on their club team? Did they make it to an international level and have success somewhere overseas? Which, let's be honest here, even now we don't have a full team working or playing in Europe or something like that.
Right.
What was their identity on a higher level outside the national team?
I will tell you just before we get into our top 5, mine was very similar. Of course, you and I should probably communicate better about how we're going to do these top 5s. But player performance, of course, right? How they did. Cultural impact or cultural influence, of course, I agree. But for me, I didn't look at club play at all. So I just want to put that out there.
Okay.
I did not even look at club play. I just look at what they did for the men's national team.
Okay. All right, Coach, let's get into our number 5 player. I'll let you go first on number 5. Who are you looking at?
I went out on a limb here, but did some research and I went with Kobe Jones.
Interesting.
National team cap leader with 164 caps.
He played a long time.
3 World Cups, 94, 98, and 02. He was named in the best 11 in the 2010 Gold Cup, which I believe we won. Maybe not. I'm not sure. And then he was a member of the 92 Olympic team. So
okay.
I feel like he was that first, he had the dreads. He showed up with the bleach dreads at the, at the Olympics, and I feel like he was that first flashy player.
Yeah, that's true.
That kind of put us on the map. And then, of course, he's the cap leader. He played for a long time with 164 caps. So for me, my number 5 is Kobe Jones.
Yeah, I like that because longevity matters.
Yeah.
He clearly has an impact on the culture of American soccer. You've got the Alexi Lawlesses back then. You've got the Claudio Reyna's. But just like you said, his style of play and his appearance definitely stood out. He's a charismatic guy.
Yep.
He's still in soccer broadcasting for a lot of teams right now. So he's still in the game, giving that culture impact. So I love that number 5 pick. My number 5 pick is probably going to be a bit controversial because people are going to be like, what? He's number 5? I've got Christian Pulisic as my number 5. I know, and I don't know, of course, we haven't seen his others' lists. So I don't know if you can have him on there. I'm sure because he's kind of right now, he's kind of looked at as the star player on the U.S. men's national team. I just don't know that he's had the career that we are expecting from him.
It's fair.
I completely agree. He is a fantastic player. He makes great goals. He has saved the national team's butt numerous times.
Mm-hmm.
Cultural influence, no doubt. In today's world, when you think men's national team, in today's national team, not anything in the past, Christian Pulisic is probably going to be the first guy you're going to think about.
That's the jersey that's being bought, and that's the kids want to wear and all that. Yeah,
and as far as his world-class play, he's played in Europe. Multiple Chelsea. He's currently playing for A.C.E. Milan. He's made his rounds in Europe and has had a successful career.
And if I'm not mistaken, I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, you're good.
Isn't he like the youngest player to score a hat trick with Chelsea, like ever?
That sounds about right.
I think he's the youngest player to record a hat trick with Chelsea.
Yeah. Now, could he turn things around and make things better? Absolutely. But right now, I don't know that I can say he's the number 1 guy all time as far as his play, his quality of play, and his cultural influence. He's a quality player. So I've got Christian Pulisic as my number 5 guy. I'm curious how other people feel about that. What's your take on it?
I agree. Well, I don't agree, clearly, but it leads into my number 4. My number 4 is Christian Pulisic.
Okay.
3 CONCACAF Nation League championships. And I mentioned the youngest player to score a hat trick for Chelsea, but he's also the youngest captain in national team history. He's the youngest player to score in national team history. He's the youngest to score in a World Cup qualifier. He's the youngest to score a brace in the World Cup, or the World Cup qualifier. He's the youngest to start a World Cup qualifier. I don't think you can knock what he's done for the men's national team. My reasons for ranking him where I ranked him, because I'm kind of like you. If we have this conversation in 5 years, could he be number 1? He could be, right? But he was, I don't know if he was the captain that night, but he was a part of, arguably, but maybe not even arguably, the worst loss in U.S. soccer history to Trinidad and Tobago. We lost, 2-1 or 1-0 or something. That would have put us in the World Cup, and we lose. And then that current situation, and maybe this is just a me thing. I seem to be out on an island by myself, but I understand that the Club World Cup's going on, and that's probably more important. But the fact that he wasn't a part of our Gold Cup team, the fact that he wasn't a part of his country's side, I don't know, just rubbed me the wrong way this past month or so.
I think we see his standing here pretty equally. The Gold Cup thing doesn't bother me as much.
Drives me insane.
And here's why. Because I still feel like the Gold Cup should be like the Olympics. It should be for your youngsters, 23 and under, giving those guys a tournament of high-level teams to compete against. And the pressure, especially when you're playing in Mexico, where that's a high-pressure game, I want to see my youngsters get that opportunity. Now, not everybody's going to agree with that, and that's fine. Do I agree that if U.S. men's national team calls you up and you play, I'm there with you, 1,000%. But I think we're on the same page as far as Pulisic goes. So I'm going to go in with my number 4.
Okay.
Is Claudio Reyna. You had him as an honorable
I
mention.
did. Yeah. Okay.
For me, Claudio Reyna is the guy in the 90s that I remember the most.
Okay.
He was technically gifted. He was clearly the most talented
Player on the field.
soccer player during the 90s. He was also the first American to earn respect in the European leagues. He played in Germany. He played in Scotland. He played in England. With those countries, he was on Bayer Leverkusen. He played for Rangers in Scotland, Manchester City in England. Now, back then, Manchester City wasn't what they are now.
Yeah, but
they were still playing in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And he earned their respect. And as the first American to travel to Europe and get true, honest, world-class respect means a lot for a guy back in the 90s as an American, where everybody kind of frowned upon even having an American on your team in Europe.
Yeah, no, I agree with that wholeheartedly. And again, we already mentioned, the 2-time World Cup captain, the 02 World Cup All-Star. So I don't disagree with that. He just didn't make my top 5.
All right, Coach, what is your number 3 here?
My number 3, and I have a feeling this is where I have a feeling maybe our top 3 are the same, but maybe in a different order. And I think this is where I'm going to be different from a lot of people. My number 3 is Clint Dempsey. Right? So, of course, Dempsey tied all time for the leading goal scorer with 57 goals. The 05, the 07 World Cup. The 05-07 Gold Cup winner. I apologize. The 06 World Cup. In the 2006 World Cup, Coach, I don't know if you know this, but he was the only American to score a goal.
Which is sad.
In the 2010 World Cup, he became the second American to score in multiple World Cups.
Mm-hmm.
And in 2014, he became the only American to score in 3 consecutive World Cups. So I think those numbers just speak for themselves, and Clinton Dempsey is my number 3.
All right, Coach, my number 3, we've already mentioned goalkeepers. Mine is Tim Howard. And when you think American goalkeepers, Tim Howard is undoubtedly the best goalkeeper we've ever had. He's athletically gifted. His positioning was phenomenal. And he was a great leader on the field. If we all remember the Belgium game in the 2014 World Cup where we had 16 saves, you and I think we were watching that game together. We were texting each other back and forth.
Yeah.
And we're like, is anybody else going to help him?
Do something.
Get in front of
the ball.
Is anybody going to stop Belgium from just crushing him? And Tim Howard, over and over and over, just parried everything away. And we're talking about the golden age Belgium team of De Bruyne and the names just left my head. But that was like a legit Belgium team there. And Tim Howard kept that game from being 10-0. Because of his exceptional play there.
And I want you to go, because I like what you have. I'm sorry, I'm looking at your screen. I like what you have written second there, so I want you to get to that. But we also remember he did enough for us to win that game. And was it, I forget who it was. I think it was the white boy that missed the wide open goal. And he had a long last name, but he missed the wide open goal for us in extra time that would have sent us through. That would have.
Wondolowski?
Yes, Wondolowski.
He shanked it.
And all he had to do was tap it in.
Shanked it.
And I
remember, you're going to start triggering some nerves here.
I know. All right, go ahead.
So, getting back to Tim Howard, his cultural influence, there are hashtags for him. One of them is things Tim Howard could save.
I love it.
It's kind of like the Chuck Norris thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I love that about it. So
I love it.
Tim Howard had 13 plus years playing in the English Premier League. A lot of that with Everton. I think he had a very short stint with Manchester United. Just a top-class goalkeeper and a guy that literally saved the butts of the men's national team numerous times.
Well, I'll roll into my number 2. My number 2 is Tim Howard. And I will tell you that there's only one specific reason that he's not number 1 for me overall. but I'll get to that when I talk about my number one player.
Okay.
But again, I went more stat related. So, his one of his first appearances was or not first appearances, but big appearances was the '07 Gold Cup final. He gets a 2-1 win over Mexico. For me, the biggest one, it's kind of my not first memory, but like memory that sticks out to me with Tim Howard is in 2009, the Confederations Cup. We shut out Spain 1-0. At the time, Spain was world number 1.
Mm-hmm.
And we shut him out. He had 8 saves. It was the first time Spain had been shut out in like 4 years or something. So it was something wild. That's the first memory that sticks out. Of course, you mentioned the World Cup match against Belgium. He's also the most capped goalkeeper in U.S. history. So for me, Tim Howard is number 2. Maybe even number 1 on my list, but I'll tell you why he's not number 1 in just a minute.
All right, so let's go to my number 2. And it sounds like we're swapped, just like you said. I have Landon Donovan as my number 2. Like you said, tied in most goals scored. He actually leads the national team in most assists. Also played in 3 World Cups. Kind of looked at as the face of the national team during the 2000s and certainly in 2010. You could say he was world class, although he never played in Europe. Mm-hmm. So it's hard to kind of compare how well he would have done in there. But there's no question that when he played on the national team, his ability to attack was something. Altidore didn't have that quickness. He didn't have that speed.
Agreed.
He was just a big strong dude.
Big, strong guy, yeah.
Landon was not a big guy.
Yeah.
You think guys like Xavi or Iniesta from Spain, just these small, agile, technically gifted individuals. And that's kind of how I saw Landon Donovan.
Yeah.
A guy that was very good at attacking, finding space, finding through balls, whatever it may be, but he could score goals as well.
Yep.
Kind of was the all-around number 9 kind of player. And kind of set the standard, you could say, for your American attackers. I think a lot of kids kind of watch Landon Donovan thinking, wow, he's not that big, but look at him go, kind of a deal.
Absolutely.
So you'll see why I don't have him as my number 1s. I'm assuming you have Landon as number 1.
I do.
And it was a toss-up for me. I do love Landon. I think he was a high-caliber player for the national team. But I feel like he's number 2 for me, and I'll explain why when I get to my number 1.
So for me, Landon Donovan is number 1. Again, tied all the time with Dempsey as the leading goal scorer, 57. He leads the national team in assist at 58. He was in that inaugural class in the U17 Academy down at IMG, and he scored 35 goals in 41 matches. I mean, Coach, that's kind of unbelievable. Mm-hmm. 5 World Cup goals in 2010 is still the most for any player from CONCACAF. So just all those stats I feel like are great and puts him in the top 5. For me, what makes him the top player is I think he owns the most iconic moment in men's national team history with that goal against Algeria. Mm-hmm. Right? I mean, it's the goal that they still play leading into games. It's the goal that we still talk about off of that. I forget who. Keeper made a good save and he follows up and puts it in. We win 1-0 and qualify for the World Cup. That moment is so important to the cultural impact of U.S. soccer, which is why it makes him my number 1.
And you're not going to like me when I respond to this, is that goal, I don't see it as the most iconic because it wasn't like a masterclass goal.
Oh, no,
it
absolutely
was
not.
Just in the right place at the right time and was fortunate that the keeper didn't properly handle the ball. Now, was it iconic for the national team? Absolutely, because we are on our way to be out of another World Cup.
Yeah.
And that's why it's iconic. Not because Landon Donovan scored it. It's more of a national team iconic moment. And that's why I don't look at that moment as a Landon Donovan situation.
I'm gonna argue. I'm gonna rebuttal.
Absolutely.
But also with his resume, you can all like, okay, if Clint Dempsey has that goal, he's probably my number one, right? If Pulisic has that goal, he probably vaults up my list, right? And so I think, are you right? Was it a upper 90 masterclass, shook all the defenders' goal? No, but he did his job in that moment, and it was a massive moment in U.S. history. And so for me, again, that's just my art. Like, he did what he was supposed to do in that moment, and in a moment where, I mean, it's literally, that goal is literally at the death. Like, we're done.
It's over.
Like, it's over. We are not going to qualify again for the World Cup. And he puts it in the back of the net. I remember the celebration.
Well, that was the World Cup.
Yeah, that's correct.
They were going to get knocked out of the group
Yes,
stage. Yeah.
group stage. You're right. And against Algeria, right?
We struggle against these weird teams.
I mean, well, we do. But
So
that's
let's
a
get
conversation for another day.
Let's get into my number one.
Yes, please.
I have Clint Dempsey
Yeah.
as my number one.
Okay.
And again, we've already said this. He's tied with Donovan as most goals scored. Scored in 3 consecutive World Cups. I like Clint Dempsey because of his cultural influence. He is that fearless American attacker. He doesn't back down from people.
Mm-hmm.
He will get right up in your face. He represents that kind of the underdog American spirit of, you're gonna tear me down, but I'm gonna keep getting back up. You're gonna tear me down, I'm gonna keep getting back up. I'm gonna be in your face. And I think for me, the biggest thing that kind of put him over Landon Donovan for me, I think they both have the same amount of goals.
Donovan was your 2, right?
Donovan was my number 2. So the goals thing isn't what's going to separate them. But, Clint Dempsey still had iconic goals himself, where he scored early goals or some volleys that we all remember. It's what he did the rest of his career.
He had that diving header against somebody. I forget.
Absolutely.
But I remember watching that.
He scored 50 goals, more than 50 goals in the Premier League with Fulham over his career. He's also a finalist in the Europa League playing with Fulham. So he had the better career, I feel like, as a player. He challenged himself playing in Europe. I feel like Landon Donovan, I remember he had the opportunity. I think Everton was calling, and he turned it down to stay in MLS. Yeah. And I thought, that is a horrible decision. Go challenge yourself. Yeah. And I think that's why I love Clint Dempsey, is he's fearless. He's not afraid to fail. He's not afraid to get out there. Very hardworking guy. Kind of turned national team to more creative and dangerous. He just had that nasty boy attitude. And for me, I love that in a player.
Yeah.
Where we just talked off camera about Joe Burrow and how he, even though his team was winning, was still ticked off with his players for not playing at a high enough level.
Yeah.
I see Clint Dempsey in that same way. Now, I'm not disagreeing that Landon Donovan isn't that way. I feel like he does get irritated when the team doesn't play enough. He definitely rants enough as a broadcaster when players aren't playing well. So I think he's there.
Yeah.
I just feel like Clint is just a little more aggressive about his play, how he feels about the national team. And either way, 2 legends.
Yeah, absolutely.
No question about it. Both have iconic goals to submit their careers. But I've got Clint Dempsey as my number 1.
Coach, let me real quickly, I just Googled top 25 U.S. men's national team players of all time.
Okay.
According to Sports Illustrated, you want to hear their top 5?
Pulisic, number 1.
Number 5 is Reyna.
Okay.
Claudio Reyna, not Gio. Number 4 is Brad Friedel. Number 3 is Donovan. 2 is Dempsey, and 1 is Pulisic.
All right. If I would end this conversation with one thing, we don't have enough true world-class legends
Agreed.
that have played for the national team. And for an American country that has a massive population, where youth soccer is one of the largest participated sports in America, there's clearly an issue with the way we develop our players.
And we see that, and people can get mad at us for making those comments like that, but we see it at every world tournament that we go to. Every Gold Cup tournament we go to, every CONCACAF tournament we go to. I mean, is anybody going to argue with us that says that the United States of America should win every CONCACAF tournament ever played? I mean, come on.
Come on.
And we don't. Is anybody going to argue with us that?
Well, not only it's the answer is we don't. The answer is we've struggled.
Yeah.
Multiple times.
Yeah.
Numerous times. And there might be a few times where you have a bad night.
Absolutely.
But to have repeated CONCACAF struggles is a major issue.
Yeah, absolutely.
We are the Ace Football Academy. We thank you for joining us. I'm Coach Dunham. That's Coach Hamilton. Go kick some ace.